I'm doing this for one reason and one reason only.
To tell your story, right?
Fuck no. I'm doing this because you guys are paying me.
This man you see on your screen is named Nigel Bach. In 2016, he released his first full-length movie, Bad Ben. Bad Ben is part of the mockumentary style of horror films, commonly referred to as found footage. See, the found footage genre is nothing new, having its origins in 1980's Cannibal Holocaust, and picking up steam with 1999's The Blair Witch Project. However, the whole thing really found its formula after the wide release of Oren Peli's Paranormal Activity back in the wild and woolly days of 2009. Inspiring about 8,000 sequels and somewhere in the realm of 50 million knockoffs, Paranormal Activity really defined the look and feel of the subgenre. Just think of all the elements that trace their lineage directly or indirectly back to the Paranormal Activity movies. We've got Aphex Twin Scream Faces, Heat Vision camera effects, empty room pan rattling, Aphex Twin Scream Faces, time-lapse room standing, hallway shots, Aphex Twin Scream Faces, and creepy clowns. The Bad Ben series is, for better or worse, fairly reminiscent of the Paranormal Activity watch-alikes, and features a lot of the same elements. But while your wrecks and your Graves encounters try to amp up the intensity with enough jump scares to make Markiplier blush, Bad Ben takes a slightly different, more character-based approach. When Nigel was going to make Bad Ben, he had a somewhat different vision in mind than the one that actually made it to the screen. He'd originally hired a small crew to film the movie with him, but at the last minute, they all dropped out, leaving Nigel to figure out what to do. If you've ever worked on anything film-related, especially in the independent world, you know exactly what that's like. I'm getting hives just thinking about it right now. While I think a lot of first-time filmmakers would probably postpone or totally cancel a project due to the pressure of their entire crew dropping out of the production, this was not the case for our pal Nigel. Oh no, he was cut from very different cloth. His solution was to film the movie almost entirely by himself, simply using security cameras he had set up around the house, along with an iPhone and the help of a couple friends. So, Bad Ben is sort of your quintessential Paranormal Activity-inspired found footage film. It clearly made on a shoestring budget. No, for real, the entire budget of this movie is allegedly like $300. So what is this movie about, you may ask? Well, the story goes that Tom Riley, a prickly 50-something New Jersey native, shows up at a newly purchased house, looking to clean it up and resell it. First order of business, he throws out some religious icons hanging on the wall of the place. But unfortunately, they turn out to be the only things holding back the evil spirits and demons infesting the house, who quickly begin harassing poor Tom. See, the big hook for the Bad Ben series isn't the hauntings themselves, but Tom's reaction to them. While the majority of found footage movies tend to load up with jump scare screams, shrieks, people running through hallways, etc., 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 Tom's reactions are more along the lines of sarcastic annoyance. This may seem like a minor difference, but there's something honestly so novel about a 50-year-old man with a thick New Jersey accent, seeing doors slamming by themselves, and just yelling, "Shut up."
Shut up.
And that's the thing with these movies. They are the Tom Riley show, through and through. And that's a fact I don't think Nigel had actually recognized when he went on to make his next film. So, Steelmanville Road is the prequel to Bad Ben, a came out in 2017, and from what I can see, it was pretty alienating to the fans of the first film. And that's where I need to take a little diversion and give you a scooch more backstory to the whole situation. See, while Bad Ben was made cheaply, even by indie movie standards, Nigel Bach had uploaded the movie to Prime Video, and due to the strange occult machinations of the Amazon recommendation engine, it ended up building a bit of a cult following. So, after making Bad Ben, Nigel put together a prequel movie pretty quickly. It had a more ambitious plot, some CGI elements, and he went about telling a little of the backstory of the house and of the people who had lived there. The idea probably being to carry on and build a franchise based on the mythology of Bad Ben and the house, rather than any one individual human character. And that's just what it didn't do. Unfortunately, aside from a few brief glimpses of the guy at the end, Tom Riley didn't actually feature in the movie at all. That ended up being a big problem. As odd as it may sound, fans had really fallen in love with that 50-year-old man running around the house in his underoos. The actors in the movie did a serviceable job.
It's done. Can I cross over now?
They didn't have the charm or the charisma of Nigel himself. And some of the new additions to the storyline, the effects, and the new darker tone really seemed to turn people off. Thankfully, this was all resolved in the sequel, Badder Ben, the final chapter, which also came out in 2017 and would in no way, shape, or form actually be the final chapter of the Bad Ben series. Finally, Tom Riley was back, having fled the house at the end of the previous movie, and was now working with a team of paranormal investigators to exorcise the spirits dwelling in his old home. To, mixed results. The rest of the movies in the series would loosely follow a general format of some series of events bringing Tom Riley back to his old house, and then chaos ensuing. And by chaos, I mean chaos. You like clown monsters? We got clown monsters. Evil dolls? Check. Parallel universes? Check. Vampires? Check. Evil dolls who can drive? Check. Invisible ghost babies? Check. Animated witches? Check. The list goes on and on and on. One of the most interesting and ambitious of the recent movies was 2020's Bad Ben: The Haunted Highway, which saw our hapless hero taking up a career as an Uber driver. Or as close to being able to be called an Uber driver as you can get in a movie unrelated to Uber.
I now work for the ride-sharing service, Drop You Off.
The whole thing is filmed largely from dash cams, and it really shows off both the ingenuity of Bach as a filmmaker and his development as a storyteller and an actor. Honestly, I think a lot of people are going to tune into these movies and be completely confused by what I'm talking about here. They're going to see some kind of amateurish found footage horror production, and they're just going to switch the thing off. And that's honestly a pity, because watching these movies is an experience. Are they rough around the edges? Sure. Are there some janky effects? Yeah. But that's the beauty of it. With the Bad Ben series, you get to watch a filmmaker developing before your very eyes. You get to watch them figure out the rules of filmmaking and how to solve problems on set, like, as they go. You're seeing a filmmaker and an actor developing his craft, and slowly but surely, you really start feeling for Tom Riley, and by extension, Nigel Bach. You see why Nigel and Tom share a lot of traits, like their thick Jersey accents and their somewhat dry sense of humor. It has to be said that they're actually pretty different guys as far as I can tell. Tom Riley's a little bit of a prick. He's a lovable prick to be sure, but he's got some real snarky uncle energy going on. On the other hand, Nigel seems to be one of the nicest human beings on the planet. His Facebook is full of live streams where he communicates directly with his fans, the Benites. He posts motivational memes, he posts pictures of his dogs, he does little TikTok dances. One time he told me that I'm beautiful.
Hey y'all, I know beautiful when I see it, and I just want to tell you, y'all's beautiful.
He seems like your typical down-to-earth regular guy, and I think that's part of the charm that attracts me to the movies. He loves his fans, and they love him back. Most of the movies past the first couple have been funded in part by the Benites via GoFundMes and other crowdfunding campaigns. There's an old story that goes that the Velvet Underground were the band that inspired everyone who heard them to go out and form their own bands. Honestly, I could see Bad Ben being that for DIY filmmakers. I mean, if some random guy can launch an entire horror franchise off an old iPhone and $300, what can you do? Honestly, folks, I love these movies, and I think they deserve a lot more attention than they're getting. It's always great to introduce people to cool, under-the-radar gems, and Bad Ben is definitely one of them. The Bad Ben movies were recently pulled off of Prime for a little bit, I believe partially due to the change in royalty payments for indie filmmakers, which is a whole rant I'm not even going to get into here. I know he was working on a Roku channel for a minute, but that's gone on hold for the time being. As of recording, Nigel has now put almost all of the Bad Ben movies back up on Prime, save a few extras like the Tom Riley animated special, which is up here on YouTube, and there was a Bad Ben behind the series featurette, which I don't think is available anymore. Horror has more than its fair share of low-budget auteurs, from Lloyd Kaufman to Larry Fessenden, all the way back to Ed Wood. We've been blessed with some of the most inventive, creative people out there, somehow able to rub two pennies together and make magic. I think it might be time for Nigel Bach to take his place in that pantheon of low-budget horror filmmakers. He's more than earned it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know if you like this video by giving me a thumbs up below. I'm going to be doing more videos like this in the future, so definitely subscribe to see more. Finally, do you have a favorite scene in the Bad Ben series? Drop me a comment below and let me know which one's your favorite. And have a great day.